Right. So good afternoon, everyone. Today we're going to continue our discussion on module. We're actually in module 3 from data to decision making. So as I said, I'd like to make it as a parang scenario analysis. So let's suppose that today is our first working day sa investment company. No? Then we're given a stack of data. The manager asks us for our opinion, our idea about what we think about this data that's given to us. 6 years of financial market data. Okay, so before we do any forecasting model, before we do any machine learning model, okay, we are requested to tell a story about the data. Okay, what story is this data trying to tell? Actually, come to think of it, descriptive statistics is like that. Yun lang naman yun eh. Okay? Yung numbers kasi, they tell us about the statistics. Pero yung analysis, yung visualization tell us the story about it. That's why we always connect yung descriptive statistics with data visualization. Now, sa totoo lang class, in reality, this story about data storytelling is all about that's the role of every financial analyst. No? So in this module class, we'll quick review lang ng EDA natin. No? We'll have a quick review of exploratory data analysis. We'll once again download historical financial market data. We need to compute simple and logarithmic returns. We're going to do that fast kasi na-discuss natin yun. Here is where we start actually, no? Interpretation of descriptive statistics from an investment perspective. So it's not from a statistical perspective, not from a mathematical perspective. Then we're going to construct professional financial data visualizations. We're going to use ggplot2. And of course, yung storytelling, kailangan ma-connect natin yung statistical results with real financial events. Okay, and then, of course, our inputs are the results of our analysis will have no meaning unless we're able to communicate it to would-be interested parties, which are usually the stakeholders, which could be the management or the shareholders or even the creditors. No? So let's start first with this hypothetical question, the scenario question. What if you were given 10 million today? Sa classroom, kunyari, I have the power to give you 10 million. And before you leave this classroom, kailangan ma-invest mo yung 10 million yun. Anong mga information would you want to know before investing? So I'd like to ask that, no? I'd like to throw that question to the group and ask, siguro mag-unmute na lang kayo class kung let's just exchange ideas. Meron kang 10 million, I provided you with 10 million. So you are tasked to put this in certain assets. Before doing that, anong information ang gusto nyong malaman about investing? Okay, so let's, I hope we can have volunteers. We're 11 here. So I hope we have a very robust discussion. Ano yung mga information class you'd like to know before investing in any asset? Anyone, please? Anyone like to volunteer? Ano yung mga information ang gusto nyong malaman about a particular company? Yes, Jay. Thank you, Jay.
I think if there's like historical data, historical data.
Yeah. Okay. Why do you think historical data is important for you to know before you invest? Jay, would you follow up question on that?
Well, if I can see it, if I can see it isn't
I'm sorry, your audio seems to I can't hear you. If you're having difficulty with the audio, maybe you can just quickly type your answer to that question. Why? What's the purpose of having knowing historical data. Okay? Yeah, oo nga eh. Okay. Let's wait first for Jay, yung answer niya dun sa ano, and I'll look at the other answers here. Jay, why? Why historical data? Yeah. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Jay. So sabi ni Jay, if I see an asset hasn't been performing well for an extended period of time, that management, then that might dissuade me. Yeah, very true. For me also. Pwede yun na I would take a look at the historical data, historical performance, and perhaps make that as a basis for my decision whether to invest in that asset. And for some of you, so sabi ni Bea, it's risk. Bea, would you like to expound on that? What about risk? A little more exposition on that. Para mas mabilis, pwedeng class, pwedeng unmute na lang Okay, because there are T-bills, so if the risk is higher and the returns are basically the same, then it's tama, no? Sabi ni Bea, meron naman mga assets, may mga instruments naman that can provide stability, no? Kunyari, treasury bills, treasury bonds, okay? And they can, of course, their returns might not be as high as the returns that could be given by a crypto asset, no? But for some, they would rather want stability, no? Mas gusto nila mas stable yung yung asset, no? Kasi some people are risk averse, no? Ayaw nila yung masyadong risk. So yes, risk is a very important factor to consider. Ano ba yung riskiness ng asset na to, no? Just like what Josiah said, no? The risk and the projected return. So si Josiah, combination ng risk at saka take note of the term used by Josiah, it's projected, no? So this time, it's not only taking a look at the historical returns, but also projected returns. And I just like to segue a bit on this, kasi sa finance class, one of the most important factor to consider in assessing or evaluating the performance of the assets is its ability to generate future cash flows. So sa finance, importanteng cash flows eh. Okay, cash flow is king. Fundamental principle ng financial management, yung cash flow. And then it's not only the historical cash flow. Kasi yung what transpired in the past, although it might give some important info or insight about the operations of the company or about how the company manages its business. However, for finance, as far as finance is concerned, what's more important is the ability of the firm or the company to generate future cash flows. Yeah, thank you so much. No, so yeah, sabi ni Bea, no, yung risk averseness ng many individuals. Yes, Andre is raising his hand.
For me, sir, aside from what was said by my
Mm-mm.
classmates, I think I would also look into the cost of investing. Like,
Yeah.
if it would be better to invest myself, or if it would be better to go to a bank to invest, and like if the cost of the commissions are like, if is it worth it enough, or makakain lang po yung returns of the
Yeah,
commissions.
very good. Thank you, Andre. Well said. Parang si Andre parang pwedeng maging auditor, no? Anong course mo? Computer science ka ba dapat yata nag-accountancy ka para naging nasa audit assurance function ka no? And that's very true. Yung cost, siyempre yung cost involved. Tama, no? Andre mentioned something about just investing in the bank. That's good kasi kunyari, no? Sa finance class, there's a principle of portfolio or asset diversification. No? it would not be a good idea, class, to just invest in one asset. Kasi pag bumagsak yung market, bagsak lahat ng ano mo. The concept of diversification allows us to hedge our investment. Take note of the term hedge, no? Protect our investment. So if you have a basket of assets coming from, let's say, several industries and even several countries, no? Kasi ngayon, for example, you can now invest in Amazon or Meta through a mutual fund. Pwede, no? So, for example, merong mutual fund ang Atram. Atram is a company, it's a mutual fund. So they have this index where they invest in American assets. Okay? Naghahanap ako ng yung SpaceX, wala pa eh. So that will be a great investment, no, kung makakuha tayo ng mutual fund. Kasi ang mutual fund, class, it's an investment that's managed by a manager, no? A fund manager. Mga knowledgeable to sa mga assets, sa mga investments. So, magi-invest tayo dun para i-pool yung resources para pag mas malaki yung resources, mas maganda kung mai-invest siya. Mas may power, quote unquote, to invest in many other assets. Ganun ang mutual funds, class. Si Atram, ATRAM, has this mutual fund that's international, no? So ibig sabihin, meron siyang investment in usually American companies. Meron siyang investment sa Google, kay Microsoft, kanino pa ba? Kay Nvidia, kay Netflix, etc. So even if personally in the Philippines we cannot on our own invest here in those assets, pwede indirectly by investing in mutual funds. So if you have GCash, tingnan nyo sa GCash, tingnan nyo yung G-Invest doon. Hanapin nyo sa G-Invest yung yung Atram. Okay? There are several mutual funds there. Meron sa Manulife, meron sa BPI mismo, and so far nakita kong the best, no? The best doon in terms of performance is in terms of returns. 31 to 35% yung average is Atram. So you might wish to consider that. So meron kang portfolio, no? May portfolio of assets ka. Tapos it also relieves you of the very taxing job of having to monitor that. Ang hirap kaya nun kung hindi ka privy to the investment climate. Ang hirap nun. One mistake might liquidate your position sa investment mo. Ngayon may mga expert ka. So way to go talaga yung mutual fund, private companies yan. On the other hand, if you go to a bank, then you have a similar product, yung UITF nila, Unit Investment Trust Fund. It's like a mutual fund, only that this is run by banks, no? UITF. So good. Wow, I'm getting very good answers from you. Thank you so much. No, so these are information that you might, of course, wish to to seek out to know before investing. So, what do you notice about this information? Yung risk, yung return, no? Ano notice natin doon? Yung cost, yung sinabi ni Andre. What's unique about them? What's so common about them? What's so common about them is that they're based on data. Lahat yan data. Yung risk, paano mo malalaman yan? Of course, you can compute for the standard deviation, for the volatility. Of course, database yan. Returns, database din yan. Yung cost, database din yan. Everything has to do with data. No? And as I said before, sinabi ko ito, financial analysis or financial analysts rarely begin by predicting prices. So they start with understanding the data. Talagang I hope I'm able to anchor it on the fact that EDA is really the let's say the fundamental of financial analysis. EDA, exploratory data analysis. So what happens when we do EDA? Well, we answer questions. Ano yung mga question na sinasagot natin? Ano nangyari? What happened? Now, of course, is the data clean? Kasi importante malaman natin kung clean yung data. If if you are doing it ourselves, no? Okay. Is the data unusual? May mga ano ba? May mga black swan events ba diyan? May mga outliers ba diyan? Are there outliers? And there are ways in order to compute for outliers, no? Pwedeng sa regression ginagawa 'yan, no? To determine kung may mga outliers kasi that might tweak the inference about the data. May trend ba? Is the data stationary? Okay. May mga relationships ba among the variables? Talking of regression here. So these are important questions that we try to address in EDA. Only after answering these questions do we begin to analyze, no? Do we begin to forecast or build ML models? Kailangan masagot muna natin yung mga questions na to ng EDA. Now, going back to my question before, can statistics lie? Ba? We did this class, 'di ba, nung sinabi yung kay Min at saka kay Anscombe at saka kay Datasaurus. 'Di ba parehong-pareho, 'di ba? Yung mean, yung variance, yung correlation, even the regression equation. So, if we were not aware of the Anscombe and the Datasaurus data, we would have conclude that kung pareho yung mean, pareho yung variance, correlation, tsaka regression equation, imagine regression pa, then we have exactly the same data. But we were able to show, based on yung Anscombe natin at saka Datasaurus, no, that this assumption might be false. If you have the same mean, variance, correlation, regression equation, we cannot say with finality, with 100% assurance that this is the same data. That's not true. No? So ano yung key lesson dito? Ang statistics, it summarizes the data. However, visualization explains the data. That's why we had to plot the Anscombe data and the Datasaurus, yung may T-Rex pa doon. And we were able to show that malayo pala itong mga data na to, no? Actually ang galing ng mga statisticians ang gumawa ng Datasaurus. They spent some time really in order to reinforce that the importance of ang sinasabi ni Tufte, was considered as the father of data visualization, na it's visualizations that explain the data. Okay? So I say that professional analysts never rely solely on summary statistics. Kailangan talaga visualize yung data. Okay. Now, for example, gagawa tayo ng investment recommendation using only average return. Would that be sufficient? Sa tingin nyo, just taking a look at the average return, si Microsoft, mas maganda to, di tayo mag-invest kasi when we got the average return, it was higher than the returns of let's say Nvidia, whatever. No? So what do you think? I posed this question again to you. Sa tingin nyo, kung average return lang titingnan natin, would that be efficient to make an investment recommendation? Anyone, please? Pwedeng chat, pwedeng unmute yourselves. Average return ng Microsoft, 5%. Average return ni Nvidia, 4.5%. Ergo, conclusion, as a financial analyst, we suggest that invest in Microsoft. What do you think of that? What do you think of that statement that wholly relies or banks its recommendation on one computed statistic, which is the mean? What do you think? Anyone? I hope you're following the discussion. Sana ang feel ko kasi dito baka ma-bore kayo sa discussion na to, no? I hope not, no? Thank you, Bea. Sabi ni Bea, average return is not very descriptive because the mean could be influenced by outliers. Yeah, very correct. And there are high highs and low lows. There might be a need to be more details known. Okay. Yeah. 100% correct to, no? Hindi pa pwedeng isang metric lang. yung average return lang. And Bea rightly said that there are high highs and there are low lows. In other words, class, yung market is not something that's stable, no? Meron tayong mga crashes. Okay. That's why I like finance history class. Kasi grabe yung finance history is littered with so many examples, no? Nung nagma-masters ako ng MSCF, Masters of Science in Computational Finance, isa sa case study namin yung metal Gesellschaft, no? Yung mga at saka yung mga company na to. At that time, 1980s, 1990s, there were so many physicists, no? Imagine mga physicists, mga steeped in physical mathematics. So mga techno to talagang mga yung mga kumakain ng mga triple line integration. Yung language nila talagang yung you can just imagine, no, isang board na punong-puno ng equations ng quantum physics, no? Well, I really admire people like that who can read into those equations and understand the very message of those equations. I'm not that I do love math, no? Pero hindi ako ganung level ng mathematician, no? I do understand, of course, yung mga a little bit of advanced math kasi I do read. Pero yung mga ganung klaseng theoretical physics na may ganung klaseng mga yung mga equation nila, wow, mga Planck's constant. Anyway, so at that time, noong mga 1980s, ang daming mga physicists, mga theoretical physicists, mga nuclear physicists who doubled into finance. So maraming mga analyst ang tinatap ng mga investment houses na physicists. Kasi magaling sila sa quant eh. So tama-tama sila sa ang quant ng finance, although involved din siya, it's not as as difficult as physical theory, no, yung physics. So isa rin sila ng cost. Yung sinasabi ko yung master's case namin. Ang mga nag-cost ng mga physicists who were doing the modeling, no? Yung Black-Scholes is a very important formula in order to price or to value options. Dito wala na. Dati may options dito sa Philippines. Ngayon wala na, no? For more advanced market in Asia like Singapore, may mga options sila. So kailangan yung price valuation using Black-Scholes model. So sino nag-invent ng mga physicists din nag-invent nun eh. Anyway, yung mga financial markets ngayon, we cannot say it's predictable kasi punong-puno siya ng crashes. Punong-puno ng hindi lang crashes, may mga recoveries pa, may mga bubbles at saka may black swan events. Okay? So before we go to let me just magse-segue lang ko ng konti dito, no? Let me just give some examples of crashes, recoveries, bubbles, black swans. That makes finance history very exciting. So ngayon na naman meron yung I don't know if you have heard of the MiCA law. No? So this is for the cryptocurrency. Kasi medyo rin-regulate na ng EU. Sila nagpasimula ng European Union ng MiCA law, no? Anyway, so mag-example lang ako so itong events na to, no? They are invisible in descriptive statistics alone. Okay? Siguro after the fact na. Pagkatapos na nagka-black swan, pag pinat mo na, doon mo na makikita, no? Okay, but yung historical, kung wala yung mga black swan na yan, hindi natin makikita, of course, yung mga dun sa descriptive statistics, no? As a number lang, no? Kunyari, mean, a certain number. It does not describe na may nagkaroon ng black swan let's say the past 2 years, no? Okay, so sabi ko nga, ang visualization talagang storytelling to eh. I agree with Tufte, no? Si Tufte, father of data visualization. May mga books siya. You might wish to double into this, no? Ang gaganda ng mga books niya, it's all about visualizing data, telling stories about the data. Okay. Kung dati lang akong siguro student pa ako dati na nauso na to. I would have mastered in this, no? Yung data analytics and then really focusing on data visualization. Of course, not to exclude yung mga models, no? Importante yan. So, quick side discussions lang. Example lang class ng market crashes. Meron tayong tinatawag na the sudden drop. Kailan to? Noong 1987. Wala pa kayo noon, hindi pa kayo buhay noon. The 1987 Black Monday crash. Grabe yan. No? Grabe yung Black Monday crash na yan. So, I hope with this class, you are enticed to do some readings if you are not familiar with the market crash. Yung market crash, what is that? It's a rapid, unexpected collapse in stock prices. Usually, nag-trigger yan by panic or sudden economic shock. Example na, 1987. Ano nangyari? 22% bagsak yung DJIA, Dow Jones Industrial Average. At that time, yan ang pinakamalaking drop class of any asset. Plummeted by over 22% in a single day. So ano yung cause? Okay. At that time, medyo bago pa lang yung computerized program trading eh. Okay. It was that triggered the automatic sell orders. Bagsak talaga yung prices, so nagka-domino effect because of panic. Ang finance class, although sinasabi natin finance is based on science, hindi rin. Sa finance ngayon, importante ng study ng yung behavioral finance. Na ang finance hindi lang controlled by numbers but also by the whims and caprices of individuals. That makes finance very interesting kasi hindi mo lang tinitingnan yung historical flow or yung galaw ng asset, yung movement niya. Titingnan mo na rin yung behavioral dynamics ng mga tao. Kasi syempre ang mga tao yung nagka-trade eh. Yung mga tao yung gumagawa, di ba? So we can't discount that. So pasok na yung behavioral finance. Another exciting topic in finance now. So as I said, yung cost niyan, tapos ang analogy, imagine mo sa full pack, no? Full pack na theater. Okay, siguro concert ng ng whatever, ano ba yung mga nyo, SB19 or whatever if you're Korea based, no? So punong-puno class. Yung sa Philippine Arena na puno ni SB19. Tapos somebody yells fire. Fire. What do you think? One rush into the one commotion, one rushing out to the single exit. Nako, magkakaroon ng pandemonium yan, di ba? Everyone could be scuttling towards the exit to save their lives, to save his life. Example yan ng market crash. Grabe. At that time, 22%. Parang ngayon, parang 22% lang naman. Parang, kasi mas may malaki ng crash. Pero at that time, crash, grabe yan. No? Alright, how about recoveries? Kung may sudden drops, may market crashes, meron din recoveries. And recent case in point class, si COVID, di ba? Ano naman yung market recoveries class? Period of economic healing. So yung market indices will regain their lost value and return to previous peaks. Okay, kasi dati medyo mas konti lang yung mga recoveries. Ngayon may mga recoveries na mas short term. Example, yan. Yung post-COVID, we call it the V-shaped recovery on 2020. Bakit V-shaped? Imagine the letter V, di ba? Grabing bagsak. Ba? Letter V. Grabing bagsak. Tapos, grabing recovery yan. Recovery talaga. Okay? So, that's what we call the market recoveries. So, class, after the massive crash in 2020, for so many reasons, the market staged one of the fastest recoveries in history, hitting new highs by late summer. Okay? Ang cause yan, of course, yung mga government stimulus packages, mga nag-cut yung central banks ng interest rates, na-flood yung economy with fluidity, forcing money back into equities. Analogy, parang rubber band, no? Sorry for using an analogy kasi I think it's a very good way to describe also this happening. Rubber band, pull down hard, and of course, you know what happens when you snap it back. Ganon, no? Ganon yung recovery. Ito naman, class. Third one, financial bubbles. Okay. Ano yung financial bubbles, class? As the name suggests, class, bubble. nag-i-inflate yung price ng asset. And sa finance meron din tayong tinatawag na valuation. So financial analysts would usually value the price of an asset. Depende. Can be using fundamental analysis. Ibig sabihin ng fundamental analysis, it looks at the fundamentals. It looks at the financial statements. It looks at the economy. Or it can be pricing using technical analysis. Sa technical analysis, ang tinitingnan mostly yung price ng asset. Why? Because the assumption, the underlying theory behind that is that the assets already reflect what are the outputs coming from fundamental analysis. So yung mga yung mga FS data, andun na lahat sa price yan. So that's the theory behind technical analysis. So, ano nangyayari sa bubbles class? Yung price ng asset, nag-i-inflate siya way beyond its intrinsic value. Kunyari, based on studies, ang intrinsic value kunyari ni Globe is, let's say, 200 pesos, no? 200 pesos. So a bubble will occur pag yung price ni Globe tumaas ng 300 plus. Ano kaya yung cost nun? So perhaps it's a bubble that's happening. Example niyan, yung late 1990s, yung dot-com bubble. I'm sure you must not hindi pa kayo born at that time, pero you must have heard of this, no? Ano nangyari diyan? Yung mga investors, they invested, they poured in billions into a company. Basta may .com lang, no? Pets.com, yan yung mga ganyan. Yung mga classic case study yan na failed failed .com bubbles. Maraming mga .coms nun na the rest is history class, no? Wala na sila. Where are they? Sa New York class, there's a museum of failed companies. That's very interesting. Failed brands. Nakakatuwa kasi may mga brands doon ng mga soap, ng mga ano na wala na, no? It existed for a while and then nawala. Marami talaga maraming examples sa mga not only firm failures but also product failures. Maraming ganun. In fact, there's a research company in the US called Dun & Bradstreet. Ang sabi nila that less than 1% of new enterprises that are created, less than 1% make it to the second year. And so, ibig sabihin, pag make it to the second year only, nawawala na sila, no? Less than 1% lang. Okay? So, ano nangyari, class? NASDAQ. Wow. National Association of Stock Dealers Automated Quotations, si NASDAQ class. It's an index consisting of several thousands of companies. Imagine nawalan siya ng nearly 77% of its value in just a matter of 2 years. Of course, mas grabe itong in terms of lost value yung black although 22% lang siya yung Black Monday, pero isang araw lang yun. Itong .com bubble class, wow. Okay? So, as I said, class, parang soap lang siya, no? Blowing air into a soapy balloon. So, habang lumalakad, di ba? Ang ganda. But, we know that it has its limitation. Siyempre, yung surface tension yan. Lalaki. Tapos, there will come a time na talagang magpa-pop yan. It is structurally hollow. Good on the outside. Laki, di ba? But, in the inside, it's structurally hollow and bound to pop. And last one, class, ito, of all the 4 class, ito yung pinakagusto ko, yung Black Swan events. Marami din naman some of what I mentioned here, class, could be classified also as Black Swan. Si Black Swan kasi parang siya, parang let's say general nomenclature or general classification. And I hope you know that it was Taleb who coined this term, a black swan, an event that is extremely rare. No? So, yung sinabi ko kanina na may mga events din na pwedeng ma-consider as black swan, maybe I can be question about that also. Kasi marami nagsasabi na si COVID ba, black swan yan? Many agree, but many do not, no? Kasi ito ang ano ni Taleb, extremely rare. So it doesn't come frequently, no? And it is impossible to predict and carries catastrophic consequences. Itong carries catastrophic consequences pwede din sa COVID. Impossible to predict din kasi all of a sudden yun, di ba? Yung extremely rare. Although may mga pandemics in the past already, di ba? Yung cholera, yung ano to, yung sa Africa, yung Ebola virus. I read that book, yung Ebola virus, grabe yung description na ng nagli-liquefy yung internals ng individual. Tapos yung they will cough and then lalabas blood na, tapos very contagious na sa air, sa wow. I don't know if may nagkaroon na ng Ebola dito sa Philippines, no? Pero sa Africa, and I think it's resurging ngayon. Bumabalik sa kasi mga viruses sometimes sila, may cycle sila. They will come and then they will disappear for some time and then may resurgence, no? Okay, black swan yung 2008 financial crisis. Ito yung nag-collapse yung US housing market. So may mga MBS to na market mortgage-backed securities. Okay, we'll not discuss yung yung subprime, no, kasi medyo it will entail a deeper discussion itong MBS, no? ABS also, asset-backed securities. So ano nangyari? Si Wall Street risk models assumed a nationwide housing crash was statistically impossible. Impossible yan, sabi nila. However, hindi eh. That event fundamentally altered global banking regulations forever. Kaya nagkaroon ngayon ng mga camel regulations sa mga banks, no? Okay? All right. So parang siya, no? Ang analogy ko dito, gumawa ka ng house, no? And it was built sa formula din sa construction management, ZIX WDL, no? Yun ang formula ng whip force sa earthquake engineering. So inano mo siya, dinesign mo siya to withstand earthquakes, to withstand hurricanes. Pero only kung nasa Iran ka, for example, yung pala ka lang ng IBMs, no? O kaya kunyari meteorite, no? A more rare event. So anong kaya ng ng structurally designed house? Nag ball and bearing ka pa dun sa sa yung footing mo, yung foundation mo. Hindi lang simple na hindi lang simple na column footing. Nag ball and joints ka pa, in other words, yung structure mo pag lumilindol, gumagalaw siya kasi may bearing sa ilalim. It flows with the movement of the earth. So yung whip force sa taas dissipated kasi kung kung very rigid yung foundation, ang earthquake kasi, class, ang mas tinatamaan niya yung pinaka top floor ng building. Imagine i-fix mo yung arm mo, hawakan mo sa elbow, tapos igalaw mo yung hand mo, di ba? Sa pinakamataas na yung sa taas, class, yung tawag na whip force. So earthquake engineering designs the building to withstand that whip force. Dinesign mo nga yung house mo, nag-ball and bearing ka pa dun sa foundation mo. Nag-thick concrete slabs or trusses or whatever, no? Yung pala stricken by a meteorite, wala, sira yung yung building mo. This might be an exaggerated example, but that's what tailored means, no? Impossible to predict, extremely rare, and carries a catastrophic, ano? Yung example niya dun sa ano niya, yung 2008 global financial crisis. Kasi grabe din talaga yung nangyari doon. That's why sa research sa finance, no? Mga structural, mga dates and structural changes. If you're using a data that reaches as far as 2000, hindi pwede na mabago yung model mo during 2008 to 2009. If you use statistical methods, magsasabi yung stat, no? Yung kunyari si R, magsasabi si R na hindi pwedeng continuous yung data mo. Kailangan separate yung discussion mo from 2000 to 2007 and then from 2008 to 2010. Iba dapat yun. Kasi the structure of the data has totally changed. Ganun din sa COVID. Kaya for those sa Fin students, we require you, for example, na dapat if your data will cover 2000, including 2000 up to 2005, for example, kailangan meron ka ng pre-COVID, COVID, and post-COVID analysis. Kasi chances are, the structure of the data has changed, and then whatever your model is, whether it's machine learning or typical time series analysis, mababago na talaga yung model. It will definitely change during those days. All right. So, punta na tayo class sa ano. Ito na. So, this now links class to yung descriptive statistics natin. So, ang gusto natin malaman class, okay, ang scenario ko dito, may interviewin tayo na assets. Yung mga assets na to, this is what I used before class sa klase ko. I hope you follow na lang kung medyo nakokornehan kayo class. Kasi it's one of the best way for me, no, to appreciate or to even recall by memory yung kaya nga class up to now, tandang-tanda ko pa to at this age kailan pa yon, nung college ko pa yon, matagal na yung class. Okay, so we are members of an investment committee. Okay, so may mga tatlong candidates nag-apply sa atin para maging member ng portfolio natin, ng portfolio ng client natin. Okay, so who are these assets that are applying to become members of a portfolio? Si candidate number 1, si NVIDIA. Candidate number 2 is an exchange-traded fund, si SPY. So, pag exchange-traded fund class, ibig sabihin, it mimics the movement of an index. In this case, yung S&P 500, ang mini-mimic ni SPY. S&P 500 class, Standard & Poor's 500, it's an index consisting of around 500 or even more yata, 500 US stocks. No? So, why do they do that? To represent the market. Kasi ang market, ilang thousands of assets yan. Diba? So, you cannot get the prices of all the 1,000 plus assets and analyze it to be a benchmark for the market. The Standard & Poor's 500 does that as an index. So we can safely say with confidence that this is a proxy for the market, yung S&P 500. So if you want to compare the performance, let's say, of Microsoft with the market, then we use S&P 500. Or as a proxy for S&P 500 is SPY. Kasi pwede natin kunin si S&P 500 mismo, caret GSPC, yun ang ticker symbol niya. Or we can just use SPY. Okay? And then let's use a crypto, no? Si Ethereum. So sabi ni committee chair, before we invest in a single peso, we interview each candidate using data, of course, and not opinions. Okay, it's very important. I'm not saying that, I'm not underscoring, I'm not overemphasizing this. Every statistic and every graph. Okay, sorry, dito yung next statement. So, ang gagawin natin class yung bawat yung bawat statistic na i-metric natin para magiging interview question natin yan, no? So let's start first. Let me just share this with you. Okay. Although alam na naman natin to, ito yung data na gagamitin natin. So kindly just copy this code. You can open a new RMD file. Quant mode lang naman, tapos let's download NVIDIA, SPY, and ETH-USD. Actually, nagawa na natin yata ito dati, no? This assets, no? But yun ang gagamitin natin ngayon. Okay? So make sure you have the three assets, NVIDIA, SPY, and and ETH. Okay. All right, I'll give you a few seconds. When you're done, class, kindly please chat in the chat box na lang na yes. Okay, thank you. All right, thank you so much. Okay, let's give your classmates a few more seconds. Okay, how about the others, class? We'll begin the interview. Okay, thank you. Okay, I hope the others are able to follow, no? Okay, so interviewin na natin yung tatlo, no? Applicant sila. Gusto nilang maging part of the, ito talaga, class, sorry to say, ito talaga nag-stick talaga sa mind ko ever since. Okay? So, ang unang question natin, tell us about yourself. Okay, very basic question, no? Pasok si NVIDIA, pasok si SPY, pasok si Ethereum. Okay? Tell us about yourself. Okay? So how do we allow a financial asset to introduce itself? Of course, siyempre, sabi niyo nga kanina, we ask the asset to tell its own story through its historical prices. Hindi naman nga pwedeng sabihin na in the future, I think my price will be like this, no? Because that can be done through valuation, process of valuation, yung projecting, of course, kung yung asset, alam niya kung ano yung projected cash flow siya, pwede niyang sabihin yan. Pero let's just focus on the historical prices. So, syempre, hindi enough, class, yung list of prices lang. Mas maganda kung i-visualize natin. Ba? Price charts are the very first charts that analysts will look into. Before even looking at the returns, before looking at the standard deviation, at the variance, at the volatility, or even before doing machine learning models, no? Ang unang tinatanong, class, is, okay, these are very important questions, basic questions. Has the asset generally trended upward? Ano ba siya, pataas? I think kanina, who was that? His answer was, titingnan yung historical price, kasi if it has been performing well, kunyari tumataas yung asset prices, then that could be a good basis for accepting that asset. Okay? Other questions could be, nagkaroon ba ng crash tong asset na to? Okay, were there also long periods of stagnation? Hindi gumagalaw yung price ng asset. Now take note, ito hindi makukuha ng mean lang, class. If you just get the average will of course reflect the values during the stagnation, during the crashes, during the trend. However, it will not reflect that. Hindi natin makikita yan. It's only in data visualization we can see that. And may V scenario ba to? As the asset recovered from difficult periods. So these are questions that financial analyst asks. So punta muna tayo sa So sige, gawin natin to, class. Okay? Dun sa assets natin, ang kunin na lang natin, class, yung adjusted price. So let me share this very quick. Pagsama-sama natin yung oops, sorry. Mali. Copy ko, Control C, and then share ko yung okay. So run natin, class, Tidyverse and Performance Analytics. Okay, I'm not sure if I have already, I think I have shared this with you, no? We're not using QMAO, but rather we're just using yung do and then call, do that call. The function is to merge, okay? And then list apply, class, no? Ano ba yung symbols natin? Okay, na-define na natin symbols, di ba ito? Yan. Symbols is NVIDIA, SPY, at saka ETH. Okay? And then, ang function natin is to get the adjusted price. Okay, so after getting the adjusted price from each of these symbols, okay, ano mangyari kasi nasa list ito, kukunin niya yung adjusted price and then i-merge niya. Okay, so once we have this object prices which will include the adjusted prices of your three assets class, yung L-apply class, list apply yan. Kasi ang mangyayari dito sa pag pag merge natin class, yung merging na yan, it will be a list object. Okay? So column names class, column names ng object natin na prices will be kasi magiging adjusted ano yan adjust adj.price, no? So gawin natin NVIDIA, SPY at saka Ethereum. And then let's print the first 6 observations. I-run natin to. Okay. So may mga NAs tayo, no? Si Ethereum crypto to So trading everyday to 24/7. Si SPY and NVIDIA, these are stocks. So baka Friday to, you can check, and the holiday to, January 1. And then this must have been a Saturday, Sunday, kaya walang values. Okay. So let's plot. Sabi natin, ipapa-introduce natin yung Control C. Let's ask the assets, yung ini-interview natin, to introduce themselves. Alright? So here we identify the width and the height, figure width, figure height. Linagay natin dito yun. And then we use autoplot.zoo prices, and then facets. This is also from part of ggplot, no? Theme minimal, and label historical prices. Yung X gawin natin year, and yung Y adjusted closing price. Okay. Actually dapat to, sorry adjusted lang I'm sorry, I stand corrected. Dapat adjusted lang to class. Although sometimes tinatawag nilang then pwede na kasi ang Control Z. Sometimes class, adjusted price is also termed as adjusted closing price. But strictly speaking class, there's another metric called closing, no? So ito naman, anyway, define siya as adjusted. So okay lang yan. Okay, let's run this. Okay, and let's see what these assets have to tell. Yan. Okay. Sige. Question. Anong comment nyo about the assets? It's, you can unmute yourselves. No? Ano yung blue dyan, class? Si Ethereum. Yung green, si SPY, yung ETF natin, yung index. And yung red, si sino, class? Si NVIDIA. Okay? So, sige, what do you think, class? What can you say about about NVIDIA, SPY, and let's start with NVIDIA, class. Ano masasabi natin about NVIDIA? Yung color red. Anyone, please? Take note, no, class? This might pose as a challenge in trying to interpret at least yung visual kasi yung sinasabi nga natin, yung prices they're not drawn to scale. So, tinan yung si ETH, dino-dominate niya yung scale. Kasi in thousands siya Itong iba, in hundreds lang yan di ba? Si NVIDIA, hindi nga yata in hundreds siya So, you can see that the plot is dominated by yung NVIDIA. And however, there's a purpose why we put it side by side para makita din natin yung mga movements nila. Okay, all together. All right. How about any comment from the class? Any comment? Sige, about any of the assets na lang. About, if you'd like to comment about NVIDIA, about SPY, about Ethereum, go ahead. Yeah, thank you. So let's see, may nag-reply dito. Okay, si Jay, thank you. It might give the false impression that ETH, thank you, Jay. No, very good observation. This might give us a false impression that ETH is a lot better than it actually is. Yeah, pwede, no? Kasi tingnan nyo naman, may mga drawdowns din siya. No? Okay, di ba may mga ups, may mga downs din. No? Okay, thank you, Jay. How about Andre? SPY, slow but steady growth. ETH, very volatile. Yes, Andre, thank you. Si SPY at saka si NVIDIA, slow and steady, no? Okay, slow and steady. Si NVIDIA, grabe, very volatile. So, depending on your let's say character as a person, kasi merong sa finance we talk about the risk profile ng isang individual. Some people are really risk seeking, no? Ano sila yung as far as risk is concerned, ayan, go sila dyan. Some people are really risk averse. So I would probably be able to at least guess educationally that if you choose green and red, then you're the type of a person that exhibits a risk averse of a risk profile of being risk averse. Pero pag blue ka, no, willing to take on big risks, no, malamang risk averse siya, no? So we can see class magkaiba, di ba? Magkaiba yung performance. So pag interviewin natin si ETH, siguro iyayabang niya na na siguro i-highlight niya yung during this time. So yung from 2020 hanggang grabe yung inabot na ng yung high to, no? Diba? Ito may mga low lows din. Ito. So siguro i-highlight niya lang to. And maybe not talk about itong mga may mga reversal din naman. Ito may V-shape to, di ba? Anong year ba yan? Hindi nakalagay. Hindi. 2020, it will be here. No? Pero sa Ethereum class, for a certain time, ito lang bagsak niya 2020. And then wala na. si NVIDIA at saka si SPY, may drop din sila dito. No? Si NVIDIA wala masyado eh. Okay. Although, sorry, I was thinking of another. Si Netflix pala yung iniisip ko. Si Netflix kasi, if I recall right, during COVID, tumaas talaga siya. Si Netflix kasi dumami yung subscription kasi people were not, especially in many parts of the globe. Sa US kasi, sa US din, no, 'di ba? May may mga provision to going out during the COVID period. So there was an uptick of subscription to Amazon, yung mga Netflix, etc. All right. So I ask you, what is your first impression of these candidates? So very volatile, si Ethereum, stable, si false impression. One of you said it might give a false impression na very profitable si Ethereum. Those are all true. No? Those are all true. So actually, what have we done? Even without computing for a single descriptive stat, nagsimula na tayo ng EDA class eh. 'Di ba? You were already able to give comments about a possible description of the stat even without computing, no? Yung mean, yung standard deviation ng mga assets na to. Okay? My point is may role ang visualization class. As I said, statistics measures visualization tells the story. Yun ang, if there's any learning for today, I hope that's it, class. Okay? So let's start first with NVIDIA. I-connect natin, class, yung graph sa financial history. Okay? So siguro, better, maybe, gawa natin, yung ordinary plot lang. Ano ba yung object natin dito? Si NVIDIA ba, ano na? Okay, si NVIDIA. Ano na siya? Okay. Let's see. Let's create, gawan nyo lang, class, Control I. Kahit yung plot lang, plot. I'm sorry. Oops, mali. Okay, simple plot lang. Yan, okay? Medyo erratic, no? Medyo erratic yung galaw ni NVIDIA, parang returns nga eh. parang parang log returns to, no? So NVIDIA 2020. Okay, you can see here 2020, then there is this drop here, no? May drop dito. Okay. So this must be the COVID period, no? Ito. Tapos may recovery siya dito. Pagdating ng 2021, okay na, tumaas na siya. Okay, so just to see what the NVIDIA plot is. So although medyo yung natin, no, marami kasing data points natin. Okay. All right, but at least we were able to see individually, class, kung ano talaga yung behavior ng NVIDIA. Okay. So I'd like to connect it to what happened, class, after 2023. Yung plot na to, 2023, class, ito. May mga upticks dito, ito. What happened? 2023, class, ano nangyari? Okay? I tried to gather this, class. These are realistic data, no? Hindi siya yung invento ko lang. Tininan ko, class, ano ba yung pinaka main happenings? Of course, yung ng AI, no? Yung proliferation ng AI. Tapos si ChatGPT din, pati mga LLMs. And then ito, yung graphics processing units. Kasi dito naging very popular si NVIDIA. Yung mga ginagamit, yung mga how do you call it? Yung mga, what's the term for that? Na ginagamit dati for games, yung mga video games. Nagkaroon na ng gamit for ChatGPT, for LLMs, and even for other gamit ng mga ibang mga companies, no? Kaya yung mga GPUs, yung demand for GPUs talagang it really accelerated. And of course, you're familiar with data centers and cloud computing. So many things were happening during this 2023. That's why it led to NVIDIA's price dramatically going up noong 2023. Okay, so this is based on this is based on actual happenings, and so I had to check, no? Kasi I asked myself, ano kaya yung nag-increase ng ano kaya yung mga factors na nag-increase ng sales ng price ni NVIDIA noong 2023? And ito yung mga some of the factors that were cited as the reason for the meteoric rise of the prices of NVIDIA. So this is a very important question. Did NVIDIA's stock increase because of what the company had already earned, or because investors expected it to earn much more in the future? Now, I already answered this a while ago. Sinabi ko kanina that as far as finance is concerned, stakeholders, okay, are more interested in the capability, in the capacity of the firm to generate future cash flows. Kasi yung previous class, tapos na yun eh, di ba? Historical na yun. Ngayon, looking forward, will this company be able to generate future cash flows? One thing to consider, for example, may mga companies na nasa sunset industry. Yung mga nasa sunset industry, these are industries class na pababa na. Okay? During my time class, naging nasa sunset yung mga video recording, video cassette recording like hindi nyo pa inabutan class yung Betamax or VHS tapes, hindi nyo pa inabutan yon. Before the inroads of yung una muna na una LCD, yung laser compact disc, tapos yung yung CD na, tapos yung mga VCD, DVD, etc. Ngayon wala na yun, di ba? Wala na yan. Lahat ng mga recorded media are now in mga discs na, no? Hindi na yung mga CDs. Okay. So the answer to this class is the price of Nvidia rose because the investors saw that Nvidia had the promise of had a big promise, huge promise of hitting the market because of the product it was churning out. In demand yung mga GPUs, yung graphics processing units. Hindi na lang ang bumibili dyan yung mga games, no? Hindi na lang siya, pati yung mga AIs. Okay, and so many other companies were now looking into the purchase of these mga GPUs for their specific uses. So it was not because of the sales or the prices of Nvidia before, maybe to a certain degree, no? To a certain degree that it was performing good before, but more so because of the perception that this company will be able to generate future cash flows. As I mentioned a while ago, yung mga sunset industries, no? When Betamax was introduced to the market, grabe yung grabe yung, kasi dati lang ba yung source of ng mga tao, movie houses lang. Tapos pumasok si Betamax, wala pa kayo nun, no? Pumasok yung mga machines ng Betamax. And then nagkaroon ng refinement, naging VCD. Maybe your parents have VCD sa bahay nyo. And then mas magandang recording yung LCD. Okay? And then yung yung mga VCD sorry, not VCD, VHS pala. Did I say VCD? First it was Betamax and VHS. And then yung mga compact discs na. Okay, and they belong to at that time nung papasok na si CD class, there was a belief that hindi na magre-research tong yung mga nag-produce mga Betamax, no? They were in the sunset industries and naturally the prices went down. Kasi nasa sunset industries na sila eh. They were overtaken by another case in point class, si very classic, si Nokia, one of the darling of the crowd before. Pag cellphone, it's not Ericsson, it's Nokia. I remember owning several types of Nokia before. Pinaka gusto ko yung 3210 kasi at that time matibay siya, tsaka very Anyway, so where's Nokia now? Diba? It refused to go with the tides, yung demand na market, yung Symbian na, yung operating system niya. Okay? Diba kasi yung mga dinevelop ni Sony, sino pa ba mga phone manufacturers nun? Nag-Android sila eh. Yun, so the rest is history. Where is Nokia now? Wala na, di ba? Wala. Okay, so future expectations class. Okay, so it's important to ask what financial insights can we glean from this meteoric rise of prices of Nvidia. So as a financial analyst, hindi lang natin tinitingnan historical. So we also need to know what are the prospects of this company, of this firm, the industry to which it is in, especially in industries where competition is really and technology the pace of technology is very fast, di ba? Maraming nagkakaroon na, yung mga example ko kanina, that's what we call technology obsolescence. Naging obsolete. Naging dinosaur na sila. Di ba? Nokia is an example. Yung Sony Betamax, Sony VHS. Nakakita pa rin ako ngayon, dati ang dami kong collection ng Betamax at VHS. Although ngayon parang umaano siya kasi may mga collectors na gusto yun eh. Parang mga records, iba yung vinyl records. Nawala na yan, di ba? Because of CDs, etc. But to a certain degree, it's making a comeback kasi people like the sound. Parang may umaano yung gumagano sa sa vinyl records. Parang mas natural kaysa yung sa CD. Anyway, I just want to share with you this very important principle in finance. Finance consider markets as forward-looking. The stock prices will reflect the investors' expectations about future cash flows rather than only current performance. So this explains why the stock prices can rise even before a company reports higher profits. Okay? Tumataas na even before a company reports sa FS nila yung higher profits. Similarly, kahit hindi pa nga pinapublish yung FS, yung financial statements, nagkaka-decline na. Because there's this expectation, kunyari yung that company or those groups of companies are in an industry where technology has really demanded that unless they reinvent themselves, they're going to be eaten alive by new competitors coming in. Okay, that's why I said disappointing expectations can cause stock prices to decline even when a company reports strong earnings. Yan, tingnan nyo class, ha? Ito. Kahit na very positive yung FS, pero yung market signals is very important eh. Market signals are very important. So when we take a look as financial analysts, when we take a look at companies, we don't just depend on the FS. We depend also on market signals in the industry in which that company is engaged in. Lalo pa ngayon, class, yung dating definition ng industry has become blurred. Maraming industries na ngayon, class. Kunyari yung banking. Diba? May mga products ngayon yung banking at saka investment houses, dati wala yan. Ngayon yung banks, may mga UITFs na. Yung mga investment houses, may mga mutual funds sila. So, ngayon, yung mga digital wallets ngayon, may mga na ngayon, like may mga banks na ngayon na digital. Maya, ano pa ba? Ano pa ba yung mga mga digital? Marami na klase. So, yung blurring of the industry class. Dati pag banking, talagang you're talking of a physical one. Pero ngayon, pwede na magka-bank na even walang physical. Yung nga lang, siyempre yung ibang, some people have reservations about that. No? So we said that markets are forward-looking. So if NVIDIA, for example, announced tomorrow that AI demand was slowing significantly, ano mangyayari sa price? Okay, so nagkaroon sila ng forecast, tingnan nila yung market signals ng demand for AI. Of course, malamang class investors may revise their future earnings expectations downward. Pwede rin mag-decline yung stock price even if the company remains profitable. Okay, why? Because markets react to new information, especially if that information changes expectations. Okay, so let me just you notice class na yung mga inano ko dito, these are financial concepts, and when I handle itong data analysis sa finance, ito yung ginagawa ko. So I hope class, okay din sa inyo kasi we're going to continue with this next meeting kasi it's almost time. Hindi pa natin, of course, we haven't even tapped the surface. No? At least nakapagsimula na tayo dito sa questions natin. So as financial analysts, we're not only studying companies. Okay, importante yun. Hindi lang yung company per se. it's the expectations. As I said, prices move because expectations change. Markets price expectations. They do not simply react to today's earnings. Ito galing na sa akin to. This is my yung parang observations about the market. Okay? In a sense, and maybe I'll end here kasi ano ba yung susunod natin? Si SPY na. Alanganan tayo magsimula ng SPY, no? Okay. In a sense, class, I'd like to conclude that this is not a lesson about NVIDIA. It's about learning that stock prices reflect stories about their future. The role of finance analysts is to determine whether those stories are supported by evidence. Okay? So, comments please from the class kung okay ba? Is it okay for me to continue this type of discussion? Kasi next meeting, titingnan naman natin si SPY, no? Si Ethereum din titingnan natin. And I'll ask you to, yung first question is, interview question is, tell me about yourself. Ito naman yung susunod, how much do you usually earn? Ito na, importante din to class, no? So yung mga interview questions natin, these are things that we need to know about the company. So I'm not saying that returns are of no use, of no practical significance. Okay? In fact, I'll state next meeting na investors do not buy prices. They buy returns. Yun ang tinitingnan nila. Okay? All right. Quick feedback class from the group kung I'll stop recording now. Kamusta naman class?